Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll, was known for his charm, voice, and unstoppable energy on stage. But behind the bright lights and screaming fans, there was a man with emotions, scars, and untold stories. One phone call changed his entire world, and for the first time in his life, Elvis couldn't hold back the tears. This is the emotional story no one ever told you. A heavy heart behind the spotlight. It was 1976. Elvis Presley was sitting alone in his room at Graceland. The crowd had just left one of his concerts, and the cheers were still ringing in his ears. But inside, Elvis felt empty. The fame, the money, and the applause didn't bring him peace anymore. He was tired. His health was getting worse. His eyes looked older than his age, and people close to him had started to notice a change in his spirit. He would often sit by himself, looking through old photo albums, remembering the times when things were simpler. Times before the fame took over his life. He missed his mother, Gladys, who had always been his anchor. He missed the quiet moments before the world knew his name. Despite the flashy cars, luxury, and the mansion, Elvis was lonely. His team, known as the Memphis Mafia, kept him busy. But they also kept people away from him, protecting his image at all costs. The king of rock and roll couldn't be seen as weak. He was a product, a brand, an icon. But he was also human. And behind closed doors, he was crumbling. The voice from the past. "Hello, Elvis." The voice on the other side was gentle, unsure, and full of emotion. Elvis didn't answer right away. He couldn't. His throat felt tight, and his heart was racing. It was Anita Wood, the woman he once thought he would marry. A woman who knew him before the fame, before the crowds, before the chaos. Anita had been Elvis's girlfriend in the late 1950s. They were together during some of the most important years of his early career. She had supported him when he went off to the army. She had written him letters, waited for him, and believed in his dream before anyone else. But like many love stories caught in the whirlwind of fame, theirs ended quietly and painfully. Now, nearly 2 decades later, her voice was shaking through the receiver. "I know it's been a long time," she said. "I wasn't sure if I should call, but something told me I had to." Elvis swallowed hard. "I never thought I'd hear your voice again," he finally whispered. His voice cracked as he spoke. There was a long pause. The kind of silence that holds 1,000 memories. He remembered her laughter, the long drives they used to take, and the way she made him feel normal, something he hadn't felt in years. A love that never faded. Tears rolled down Elvis's cheeks as Anita's voice continued on the other end. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't a movie scene. It was real. It was raw. Elvis wasn't crying because of guilt. He wasn't crying because he missed her. He was crying because someone remembered him. Not the icon, not the image, but the boy from Tupelo, Mississippi, who once had dreams bigger than life itself. He confessed that he felt lost, that the music industry had drained him, that every day felt like acting, pretending to be someone he wasn't. "I wake up, I perform, I smile, and I go to bed alone," he said. "No one sees me anymore, Anita." She listened carefully. She didn't interrupt. She let him speak, something no one had done in years. For once, he didn't have to be funny, charming, or perfect. He could be broken. He could be human. Elvis then asked about her life. She shared that she had married, had children, and lived a quiet life away from the spotlight. "It's not perfect," she said, "but it's peaceful, and I never let the past make me bitter." He smiled faintly. "I always hoped you'd be happy," he said. The truth he couldn't share. After the tears dried and the laughter faded, a heavy silence fell between them. Elvis took a deep breath and finally shared something he had kept hidden for years. "Anita," he said, "do you know why I let you go back then?" She didn't answer. She had wondered for years why their relationship ended the way it did, why he pulled away without warning, why he didn't fight for her when she was willing to stay. Elvis continued, "It wasn't because I didn't love you. I did. I still do in some way. But I knew I couldn't give you the life you deserved. My world was changing, and I was losing control of it. I didn't want to drag you into something that would crush your spirit." He admitted he had been scared of losing her to fame, scared of hurting her, and scared of the pressure that came with his rising stardom. "I thought I was protecting you," he said quietly, "but I see now that I was just running away." Anita listened, tears forming in her eyes. She had never heard this side of the story before. "I would have stayed," she said. "I wasn't afraid of your world. I was afraid of losing you in it." That truth stung. Elvis realized how many times he had chosen silence over honesty, isolation over connection. He had pushed away people who loved him because he didn't know how to be both Elvis the man and Elvis the legend. And now, at the edge of his life, those choices haunted him. "I have everything I once dreamed of," he whispered, "but I lost everything that really mattered." Anita's voice was soft and steady. "It's not too late to find peace," she said. "You're still here. You still have time." But Elvis wasn't so sure. His body was weak. His mind was tired. And fame had taken more from him than he could ever get back. Still, something about this phone call made him feel lighter, like a weight had been lifted from his chest. The truth, though painful, was freeing. As the call continued, the night grew darker. Rain tapped gently against the windows of Graceland, and the clock ticked quietly in the background. But inside that moment, time seemed to pause. Elvis and Anita were lost in their conversation, forgetting the years that had passed, the pain they had endured, and the distance between them. They talked for hours about everything and nothing. Childhood dreams, favorite songs, old friends, the future they never had. It was bittersweet but beautiful. Elvis hadn't felt that connected to someone in years, and Anita could hear the real man behind the music once again. Eventually, the conversation began to slow. Elvis's voice grew softer, almost sleepy. "Thank you for calling," he said. "I didn't know how much I needed this." Anita smiled on the other end. "Me too, Elvis. You'll always be a part of me." There was a long pause. Elvis finally whispered, "Do you ever wonder what might have been?" "All the time," she replied. "But I also believe everything happens for a reason. Maybe this call was our closure." He nodded, even though she couldn't see it. "Maybe," he said. "But if I could go back, I would have done things differently." That night, Elvis didn't sleep. He sat on the edge of his bed, staring at the phone. The call had ended hours ago, but he could still hear Anita's voice in his mind. It echoed through the empty halls of Graceland like a song